Hello. The important definitions and parameters of density-based clustering we will discuss today. So these methods based on density-based clustering, these work on the concept of identifying dense regions and connecting them together. So dense region and connecting them. So one region and grows. We'll see it. These can identify arbitrarily shaped clusters, these methods. So when we say dense region, so this is a dense region because we see fairly closely put the objects are together here. Now from this region, we find another set of objects which are close to this dense region. So the cluster grows in this direction. Further, there was another bunch of objects. So my cluster grew in this direction. Similarly, here and this one. So the second cluster grew from these orange points and one cluster grew from this blue points. So this is just the intuitive method of dense region. It clubs on more points together and makes an arbitrarily shaped. See, the shape of this cluster is like this. And similarly, we can put an outline to this cluster. So these are arbitrarily shaped clusters. So some definitions, as we said, density of an object is measured by the number of objects close to the object in question, in consideration. So density of an object O is the number of points close to O. Neighborhood of an object, neighborhood, to find the neighborhood, we take a user specified parameter which will give us the radius of the neighborhood. Like how do we identify the neighborhood of an object? So this is, suppose this is an object. So the neighborhood will be identified by a radius, which is a user specified parameter. We'll see it very shortly, what we call it. And dense neighborhood, to define dense neighborhood, there is another parameter to give us the number of objects that should be present in the neighborhood so as to qualify as dense neighborhood. So density of an object, then we have the neighborhood and the dense neighborhood and core objects. This is a very important concept in density-based clustering. In particular, the DB scan algorithm, which we will see. Core objects are those with dense neighborhoods. So we have seen few definitions here in this slide: density, neighborhood, dense neighborhood, and core object. So density-based clustering, the parameters are epsilon, the maximum radius of the neighborhood. We said we want to identify a neighborhood with a user specified parameter. Epsilon is that parameter. Min points, minimum number of points in an epsilon neighborhood of that point. Okay, dense neighborhood, to identify dense neighborhoods. And E neighborhood P or epsilon neighborhood of a point P comprises of those points X from the data set D such that the distance between X and P is less than or equal to epsilon. That means these points X fall within a radius of epsilon of P. So these X points comprise the epsilon neighborhood of P. So we will now explain these parameters with the help of an example. So neighborhood of an object is a measure of a distance given by the parameters epsilon, which we had introduced in the previous slide, and dense neighborhood is the number of points. For the given set of 7 objects here as shown in this grid, let us take epsilon equal to 2 and min points equal to 3. So we want to explore what is meant by a dense region with respect to the given epsilon and min points. So we look at the group of these three objects here and two objects here. So before we can identify anything, let us look at the distances. These distances are the Manhattan distances. The distance computations are given in previous videos in a different playlist, sorry. I'll give the link of this playlist in the description box. So these are basically the Manhattan distances. DAB equal to 1, DAE is 2, and DBE is 1. This is ABE. And here, these two objects are within distance 1. Now, so the distance epsilon is 2. So within distance 2, we want to identify three objects. Okay. So we are seeing here three objects, and the distances of these objects among each other is not more than 2. Here we have the distance is 1, but there is no other object which is within the distance of 1 or 2. So the number of points here is 3, and here the number of points in this group is 2, which is less than 3. So what did we say? To identify a dense neighborhood, we should have at least a min points, number of points, which is present in this. So this is a dense neighborhood, and the one with the dotted dashed outline, this group is not a dense neighborhood as per our definitions for this density based clustering method. We will now discuss the last important definition of this video, core object. An object P is a core object if the epsilon neighborhood of P contains at least min points, number of objects. Epsilon and min points are user given parameters. So here in this example, we take epsilon 2 and min points as 3. Let us look at the distances. AB is 1, AE is 1.5. We are assuming this E is at the center of the grid. So 1.5. Similarly, BE is also 1.5, which means the distance of from A, let us look at A. If we take the epsilon neighborhood of A, it includes B and E, and A, of course, itself is included. Similarly, B, the epsilon neighborhood of B includes A, E, and B itself, and similarly for E. So, epsilon neighborhood of A, B, and E all contain three objects. Right? Here we have written for A contains A, B, E, which means these three are the four objects. We cannot say the same for G or for F or for C or D, because if we look at C, we don't see any other object within a distance of 2. Of course, there is one, but we need three objects for it to qualify as the core objects. Similarly, for D, D has no object in fact, because even G is at a distance 1, 2, and 3. Manhattan distance can be computed very simply using this grid, because you have to simply count the block. So it is also called the city block distance. From D to G, we get 1, 2, and 3. So, and same we have seen for G and F. So none of these are core objects. However, these three are core objects. So the DB scan algorithm identifies the core objects and grows them into clusters. This is the beginning of the clustering by the DB scan algorithm method, which we will be seeing shortly in our next video. Thanks for watching. Thank you.